It's your boy Tyree. Back with another biggie banger. I'm just jumping into the video. Get it.
Grandfather's experience. He died a long time ago.
Dang.
After he was declared dead at the hospital, we took the body home and put it in his room because my grandmother wanted to see him a little more before saying goodbye to her husband.
Our good boy Cade gets a text from his GF.
But then, something happened. 2 days later, the room door suddenly opened and my grandfather crawled out asking for water. Literally, my grandmother and all of the aunts just fainted, and only my uncles and my mom were barely awake. And I was just staring at this weird sight because I was too young at the time. I gave my grandfather a whole body massage after I brought him water, and on that day, the house was in chaos. A few months later, I went to my grandparents' house again, and he was so lively that I couldn't believe that he's the one who once died.
Yeah.
One day I was sitting with my grandfather eating ice cream, and he started to tell me a story. On that day, my grandfather woke up in the hospital, and he noticed that everyone was crying. He asked them why they were crying, but no one answered, so he was just standing there. And then a man in a black suit called him outside the hospital room. Without time to think, he began following him, and he started to feel a little bit sad rather than scared. The crying sound from behind gradually decreased, and as he walked along with the man, he could see the village where he used to live as a child. There was a river at his feet that he had never seen before, and the river was really, really red. So he got goosebumps. The man was walking on the surface of the water, and he pressed my grandfather to come over quickly. So the moment he tried to follow him, he was also walking on the water. After crossing the river, he then saw a black wooden structure long past the wasteland. When he was about to pass the gate, a woman in black mourning came out from the inside and kicked him out, saying, "No, you brought the wrong person. If you want to live another 3 years of your life, go and ignore..."
1, I walked on red blood. 2, I'm not really dead. And I'm the wrong person. Who y'all trying to kill?
Everyone you meet, do not look back. Just follow the four-legged animal. The woman said like this and disappeared into the house with the man. So my grandfather was going back the way he came. And then he saw one of his friends who had died a few years ago standing there. He beckoned him to come closer, but my grandfather ignored him, thinking what the woman had said just before, even if his friend cursed at him. After that, he met other friends, but he ignored all of them and just passed by. The moment he arrived at the river again, there was a bridge that was not there before. At that moment, he saw his daughter, who had died of fever when she was young, standing in front of the bridge. He could not ignore his daughter.
Don't!
So he approached, and she stretched out her hand as if she wanted him to hold it for her. As soon as he was about to hold that hand, something pulled on his legs. When he looked down, he saw a white dog that had been raised by him a long time ago, was biting his pants and dragging frantically as if he should not hold that hand.
Let's go.
It's like he was telling him to cross the bridge immediately. He stepped back from his daughter quickly, and that was the moment when she suddenly rushed to him. Her mouth almost ripped to the ear, and she repeated like this, "I'm going to catch you. I'm going to take you." She was running toward him with a rope in her hand, and it was horrifying. He started to run toward the bridge, and the dog was barking at the ghost and guarded behind him. As soon as he crossed the bridge, that thing vanished with loud crying, and the dog was still barking as if he was telling him to hurry.
Keep going.
He looked back when he was far away from the bridge, and then realized that the river, the bridge, the neighborhood, and the dog were all gone. The surrounding area was as white as a sheet. It was the moment when he finally opened his eyes, and he found himself lying in his bed. Grandfather also told this story to his local friends, and the oldest man told him a story that had been told by a shaman. There's a ghost that brings the dead who met with violent death, and he suggested that the ghost that grandfather saw seemed to be that kind of type. If ghosts lack a place to live in the afterlife, they would take the dead to build a new house. Anyway, after that, my grandfather lived really well for the rest of the 3 years, as the woman in the dream had said, and then he passed away while taking a nap on the same day he first died, 3 years ago.
Dang!
After that, I kept recalling my grandfather's lonely face while he told me a story at that time. My grandfather was not the type who originally believed in ghosts. While he was alive, he always cut the weeds around the grave and brought some drinks and snacks for the grave's owners whenever he saw the ownerless graves around his town. This, of course, is just my grandfather's very personal experience, so it's okay to think of it as just a novelty story, because he told me exactly the same thing. I guess he absolutely went to heaven, but I just miss my grandfather.
Prank Dad. Oh my god! What? I got expelled from school, or I had an expelled from school. How? I beat up teacher.
Yo, that was crazy. That one was crazy and scary. Like, I'm literally scared right now. I'm in the room by myself. Hello? Stay away from me, please.